This is my review of White Knight Chronicles 2 on the PlayStation 3. In the intro sequence, quite a lot of the later part of the game is sort of revealed in small chunks. Some of the nicer cutscene areas, it's almost like watching a preview of a film that shows all the best bits, and they've kind of done this in the full motion sequence in the start of the actual game, which is a little disappointing, but at the same time shows that the game has got a lot to come. In White Knight 1 there was no side quests. There was no point in talking to anybody in the towns, just basically going to the Gold Star, progressing the story and moving on. However, in White Knight 2 they have introduced side quests, and a lot of the people in the towns have little question marks above their heads. Approaching these people and talking to them will activate an errand, as they're called, and you have to take on different sorts of errands, and that may be going from one town to another, taking something for them to another part of the world, getting feedback and then coming back to them with that feedback, or doing something along those sort of lines. There isn't many quests where they want you to actually go and kill a specific creature, which is a bit of a shame, or to go out into the actual world map and look for something in the plains or anything like that. The errands are all based in town. Actually unlocks further skills in the game. The skill tree has expanded, which I'll touch on in a bit, and to get the expanded skills you need to complete the errands, so you can't actually get a gold star on any of your skill lists until you've actually completed some of the NPC's errands. So they are essential to maxing out your character and making the best of your character. And also, after doing some of the errands, it makes that person a recruitable person for your geo. The actual GR points and geo levels have all been changed. It's like on White Knight 1, to move my geo to the next stage, it would have been to get it to level 13, but now I have to be on GR 19 to be able to move my geo up a level, which is a bit of a pain, but at the same time they've changed the amount of points required to get to your next guild rank level. And when I ported my character over, he was at GR 11 and he jumped to GR 13 on transferring him over to White Knight 2. The skill tree has changed. In the previous White Knight you could only go so far, then you had to rebirth your character, and then you could reallocate those points gained onto different skills and max out the skills that way. In White Knight 2 the barrier on the levelling up seems to have been shifted quite somewhat. I mean, my level of my character is 56 at the moment and still going. Levelling up doesn't seem to take as long and not so much of a slog and a grind as it was in the first White Knight edition, which is pleasing to hear and know. I've managed to get the gold star on my bow skills on White Knight 2. As I say, I had to do a lot of the errands before that would be allowed, and I've also got quite a healthy repertoire of elemental and offensive magic, well, elemental and divine magic. The elemental magic is quite impressive as well. They seem to have added quite a few new skills to each tree, and some of the actual skills I've come across are really nice. A lot has progressed from White Knight 1 when it comes to skills. The area effect magic and the elemental magic calling down a comet or a meteorite is quite impressive. The online gaming has improved. You can now fight with like 5 of your friends, making 6 in your team, and some of the quests that you go on you can actually change into your Incorpius, so like turn into a knight. There are restrictions on a fair few of the quests, where only one of you can transform, or only one can be transformed at a time. In fact, that goes with the story mode as well. There seems to be a restriction on how many can be on screen at once, which is a bit annoying, because in the first one you could have like a tag team of knights fighting against a monster. But there's ways and means of playing the game and balancing it so you can still manage to progress. The game itself is a lot harder. In fact, it's really tough. There was one point in Van Hayden Wastes where none of my characters could turn into knights at the time. I had to fight off 2 giant dragons with just 3 normal characters that couldn't transform, with very limited skills at the time. And it took me some time to actually beat them. In fact, I had to sort of like just quit out of the actual story mode for a while and go online, level up my characters, earn a bit of money, get all the armour that they had all powered up and their weapons to go back and fight these two dragons, where in White Knight 1 I didn't come across any problems in fighting my way through the game. I don't think I even died once. However, in White Knight Chronicles 2 proved much more of a challenge, which I quite liked, but I can imagine some people find it very frustrating and tedious. It's not a game that you're just going to pick up and complete too quickly. Well, I say that, but I might have just been a little bit useless. Others out there may come back on this video with comments that they managed to get through it first time, but you know, each to their own. One of the nicer elements of White Knight 2 is also the ability to change your own character into a knight. This knight is fully customizable. You can add different weapons to it, change the colour and appearance. You can make it just as unique as your actual individual avatar in time. And the way that you do this, or gain a lot of the items, is through these sort of rifts that open up, these sort of black holes, and they appear on pretty much every single world map. And when you go in there, it enters another dimension where there's shadow people that you need to fight, and there's also giant incorpuses walking about in there, as well as gigases that you need to fight. It's a great place to level your character up as well, and there's lots of chests with awesome items in to empower your knight with. I managed to port my diorama over. Everything is still present. Everything that I paid for online is still there as well, so all the job parts that I managed to bring in are still present, and that's quite a nice thing really, because I was dreading having to go through all that again. There have been videos put online from Japan that I've seen with geos with some new items in that aren't available at the moment through the PlayStation Network, and also when I try going into job parts for a GeoNet, it kind of times out, and so there's problems connecting to the server, but hopefully that will be fixed in time. The online mode is pretty much as it once was, apart from when you're searching for new rooms to actually fight in, it lists them in a more successful way, and sending messages is a lot easier, and there's a lot more to choose from. When doing online play from the world map, when you actually select the guild quest that you want to go on, if you select solo, you actually go in with your NPCs from the in-game, so you could have Caesar with your Eldar, so you can actually do the guild rank quests all the way up to, say, guild rank 8 or 9, like all the cards solo. Even Big Red 2 you can do solo, because you can take on the NPCs, which helps in leveling up your characters. And also doing what are called bounty hunts, which you can accept from inside the towns. Let you hunt down individual monsters for a certain amount of guild rank points, and you also get given some awesome weapons and prizes for doing that too, along with XP. So there's lots of ways to level your character up in White Knight 2, other than grinding over and over again the same missions. However, you probably will still have to do this when you reach higher levels, but by that time you can have better armour, you can hopefully have some decent people to quest with, so it shouldn't be too much of a chore. I think they've got the balance about right in White Knight 2. White Knight 1 for me would have got something like, I don't know, 72 out of 100. It's a good game, but it lacked a lot on the one player sort of game, especially since it left the game right on a cliff edge. It wasn't really a complete game. White Knight 2 sort of rounds that off and makes it complete, and with White Knight 1 and White Knight 2 being on the same disc, and the amount of hours that you can get online and on the actual one player game is immense, and it's well worth the money that I spent on it. And gameplay wise and the way it looks and plays, I've got to give it at least a 89 to 92% out of 100, I'd say. It's an awesome game.